Hello everybody and welcome to Green Star Trading with me, Tom. All views, opinions and ideas expressed in this video are my own and do not constitute financial or trading advice in any way. Right, for the next few minutes we're going to be doing an altcoin roundup and we're going to be looking at ADA, Shib, XRP and TRON. This video will be coming out alongside my weekly Bitcoin update. They'll both be out tomorrow. And yeah, they're the only videos I've been able to get out throughout the week, as unfortunately my little girl's been sick with a severe case of tonsillitis and I've been at home looking after her, and that takes precedence over getting work done. So hopefully next week I'll get back on track and get a lot of other assets covered. But I felt with all the interest at the moment, the crypto space was the one I should cover as a priority, so hence why you're getting this altcoin roundup and the Bitcoin video. So without further ado, let's get underway and have a look at TRON here on the daily time frame. So I have us as 5 waves off of the low, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a 1. I then have, this is the bearish count, an A complete, a B wave complete, and 5 waves to expect in a C lower, perhaps to the golden ratio here. We've pulled back 50 already and we could come lower into the 60. This is of course the bearish count. Okay, now if we just bring up the bullish count, as I want to get through these nice and quickly. Okay, so this is the bullish count. We still get the same 5 waves up, like so, into a 1. But then we get a sharp A, B, C into a 2, and therefore this is now a 1 and a 2 with a 3 wave expanding corrective move here inside of the 2. Which one do I favour? This doesn't look particularly impulsive to me. You can dig out 5 waves in it. So maybe I think I'm probably leaning towards a slightly deeper correction here. Come down a little lower to find this completed wave 2. Although, for as long as these lows hold, this is still a valid count. If these lows break, then the chances are we'll have a little flush lower. We can look for parity, although we don't necessarily have to achieve parity between the A and the C. If we just have a quick look at what that might look like, and we could get a move down here, which would be below the golden zone, and that would bring us down to 0.0675 if we were to get A to B to C parity, if this is indeed a zigzag. So let's just adjust our fib and see if there is. We've got the 78.6 down here. See how that looks, and then we'll check this out in log scale as well. The 100 would finish before the 78.6. Switch this into log. 100 would finish back at the 50 in log scale, pretty much, bringing the price much higher to 0.0726. Okay, and then we may see an extension, but the extension on the log scale from the C equaling the A at the 123.6 would bring us into the golden ratio, and that would be around 0.0661. So I'm not 100% sure, never am, of course, we can never be 100% sure, but if this was a wave 3, the beginning of a wave 3, this is 1 into 2, this is 3, this is not the most convincing start to a wave 3, so perhaps this is just a longer wave 2 zigzag waiting to complete before then starting that big wave 3 up. But I do think both are possible for the meantime. So let's just have a quick look at what kind of volume we're getting here. The volume has dropped off significantly since the peak of our proposed 1, leveled off, starting to pick up a little bit here. We'd really have to see a break above these highs here if we were going to support this bullish count. And as I said, a break with these lows here to support the bearish count. So we're in a bit of a range at the moment between the recent highs and this previous low, which we're calling wave 2 bottom in the bullish count, wave A bottom in the bearish count. Now if we also have a quick look at the MACD and the RSI before we move on. Okay, now we can see we've had, let's just bring up the RSI here, that we had pretty strong bearish divergence here in the RSI. So this high, which is our wave 3 high, this is our wave 4, this is our wave 5, we've had bearish divergence between the 3 and the 5, This is very typical to see the fifth wave achieve its high on lower momentum. We've seen the same here in the MACD as well, and that's what brought on this subsequent correction here. Now we haven't made it back to oversold. We're back above the zero band in the MACD here. We have got a negative crossover here of the average over the signal, and we haven't quite made it back to oversold. So potentially from overbought all the way back here down into oversold, and then rally from there. So maybe I'm probably leaning more towards these lows not holding, but then again, if these highs get taken out, which they could by the time you're watching this video, then the bullish count may well prove to be correct. So just see if that range breaks. Essentially, if we get that flush down, we should complete oversold conditions. At the moment, no strong signs of volume spiking up, no strong signs of bullish momentum underneath either. So it still looks, all of this still looks quite corrective to me at the moment. So expecting a move lower, I would say. Right, so now let's move on to XRP. And we don't have to waste too much time here, as it's a very similar story. However, I would argue that structurally, XRP looks more sound than TRON. We have the same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move into a 1. A, B, C. Somehow going back in time with my doodle here. But A, B, C. Okay, C goes beyond the A, but does not equal A. Although then again, in this case, if we take into account this spike here, we can probably actually get closer to parity. No, we're still short of it, but it's still C finishes beyond A, so this could be a completed 2. We do seem to have perhaps a slightly more believable 5 wave move in a minute 1. And then what looks like 3 waves, and then 3 waves, and then 3 waves. So WXY sideways consolidation correction here, going into a minute 2. So it's very much the same situation in TRON. If this bullish count is correct, these recent highs will get taken out, and we will start to impulse clearly in a third wave. And now a third wave, and this will be the third minor wave, and the third minute wave of that third minor wave. This will subdivide if it's in third wave, it will subdivide as an impulse and cannot subdivide as anything else, giving Elliott wave rules. So that should be pretty clear if we get that upward break. If we don't, then these lows will break and we will look at the bearish count instead, which, assuming when I saved it when I was working on it earlier, let's just check. Yeah, now in this case, because I can't pick out 5 waves down at all really, come down to smaller time frames, then this whole area here is still too big to be part of a 5 wave structure. This is, to me, a 3 wave structure all day. So if this is a 3 wave structure, then this looks a bit more convincing as a 3 wave structure than it does as a 5 wave impulse. So what are we looking at here? Some further kind of 3 wave move to a lower low. So I don't see this as being, as I've seen, excuse me, I just got rid of a bearish count then. Some people I've seen suggesting that this is 1 and this is 2, and that now we're going to have a complete collapse in 3. I cannot see an impulse here. Right, I see 3 wave move. This looks like 5, and this looks like 3. So this looks like 5 forward, 3 back, impulse correction. Now, just like with 5 wave moves, where we see 5 within 5 within 5, and we see 3 within 3 within 3, and so on and so forth, then I'd expect to see 3 wave move complete within the greater 3 wave move. So you get a 3 wave move here, 3 wave move here, and 3 wave move here, and that's 3 waves, WXY likely in this case, and then head higher, completing minor 2. But like I said, if we break above these highs and then take out this high, that's confirmation that we are now into a completed 2 here, and this is now a 3, and we're going much higher. If these lows break back here and we continue to show weakness, then we are coming down to find a deeper wave 2. So let's just have a quick look at what we've retraced here as well. So from the high, we came straight to the golden ratio, to the tick. It's there for a reason, there it is. Straight to the tick, and then we did have what could be an impulse, so that's quite reassuring in itself. We've done a step up here from the golden ratio to a high, to a lower high in this case, come back currently to a higher low at the 50, and now we're bouncing. So take out these highs and we could look bullish. You'll know better than me by the time you watch this what happened. Okay, so let's have a look at the smaller move and how it retraces currently. So if we go back to, for a moment, the bullish count, which is the impulse off of the low, and let's just have a quick look at how this retraces. Now this has currently come back to the golden ratio, the 61.8. We've bodied the candles between the 61 and the 65, but we did break it with a wick to the downside, showing weakness here. We have bounced, but we don't have a hammer candle here on the daytime frame, and we don't have a bullish engulfing candle. If we come up above the high of this candle, then that will be a bullish engulfing candle, but you'll know better than I, like I said. So we haven't seen that yet. So quite a deep retracement. Once again, for the meantime, until these highs get taken out, I'm leaning on the side of a more bearish move lower. So seeking out a deeper wave 2 would be my guess. So, but could be wrong, of course. I wouldn't have both counts if I wasn't considering both. Right then, so what are these here? Just remind myself what I'm looking at. Minute wave 1, wave 2. This is based off that initial 5-wave move. That's no longer relevant. Side of this pitchfork does seem to be providing support at the moment. How's it look in log? Completely broken in log scale after a back test. So either a completed pivot looking for the 1-2 as we're looking at the bearish count, or simply confirmation that we have further to fall. And what's this one here? That's completely irrelevant now. That was based off the idea of a completed pivot. Now, see, this also looks a little bearish, because if this is 1 and this is 2, we've already fallen out of the main body of the pitchfork after, you know, bouncing along it and finding the 61.8 here, bouncing, and falling out of it. So, for the meantime, leaning into the idea, I think that these lows will probably break down and we'll have a flush lower in a larger 3-wave move to get that 1 and that 2. That's how I'm leaning at the moment. Happy to be wrong, happy to be right. In this case, I'll accumulate more. Okay, so that's XRP, I think. Let's just bring up our moving averages here. See what we're looking at on the daily time frame. Now, indicators. Volume. I don't know why, but the volume profile's been taken off as well. I must have removed it without realising. Okay, so let's see what we can see. Now, I didn't put the moving averages up on TRON, did I? So currently on the daily time frame, we're below the 10, the 20. The 10 is the yellow, the blue is the 20, 60 is the orange, 250 is the green. And price currently below the 10 and the 20s, come up and wicked to the 20 and been rejected for the meantime, holding below that 60 exponential moving average, which has worked as support here. And also these 3 wicks, 1, 2, 3, have all used the 60 as support. No bullish signs of a return to greater volume yet. We had this move up here in the volume, and then we've kind of just declined since. Okay, we got that same divergent highs here as we did in TRON, except we did do a round trip here. We went from overbought to oversold, and this action does look more impulsive. 3-wave move here. So it really is about whether or not we break out of this range or not. If we break above these highs and continue to impulse higher, that would be bullish. We've already tested the 250 on the daily time frame and got very close to doing it. Okay, let's delete those. Right, and where are we on the MACD? We got the same divergent highs here on the MACD before that correction. Back below the zero bound here with the signal having crossed through the average through the signal, sorry. Not particularly strong bearish momentum yet, not like we've seen before. Okay, so for the meantime, leaning slightly towards the bearish count on both TRON and XRP, expecting these lows to get taken out. However, like I said, if they don't, you're looking for a continuation of this 1, 2 into a 3 of a minute degree as part of a 1, 2, 3 of a minor degree as part of a 1, 2, 3 of an intermediate degree. So 3 of a 3 of a 3. If we do accelerate out of here, that would be extremely bullish. Okay, so that's XRP. Let's come over and have a look at ADA. I've only got one count on ADA at the moment. I was trying to make this into some kind of bullish correction where we'd come up into a high here or here, completed a 3-wave move, and we're going 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, but it's obviously not, is it? And we took out these lows anyway. So this was obviously a triangle, and this looks like 3 waves all day. Doesn't matter whether you go 3 here, okay, or whether you go 3 here. I might prefer that actually. Getting up into this as a 5 though is problematic, as this last move appears to be 3 waves. It does not appear to be an impulse, and it does not appear to be a diagonal either. This looks like 3 waves. So I'm tempted to say, 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 5 waves down. Okay, got this big volatility wick here. Maybe it's a diagonal and it's just funky looking. I mean, maybe you could say as a diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That looks even worse. I'm not sure. We get down here in 3 waves, so I'm calling it a W. We get A, B, C, D, E, contracting triangle for our X wave, completing on the E, down to support the rising trend line, up, and then break it. Since then, we've come down to the 61.8 the golden ratio, 61.8% golden ratio of this whole move up since the previous triangle of a greater degree wave 4 completed into this new minor wave degree. That was primary 3 into 4. I have to check my other count. Let me just this is alternate count 2, bring up a bullish count, primary 3, primary 4, triangle here, and then now we've got a triangle here. It's a corrective triangle in an X wave. Okay, this was the bullish count which fell apart. I explained to my patrons when I pulled it up that I was pulling it up as a joke, because it was just so incredibly unlikely to be correct, and that's exactly what it was. It was a completely, as we suspected, incorrect. So we've had this completed triangle. Now what's interesting here is right after finding support on the 61.8, directly after finding support here, we've bounced up and gone ding straight to the 50. Okay, which coincides with the lows of the triangle. So if you're working with technical patterns rather than Elliott wave, I did a video recently all about what triangles, double tops, head and shoulders, cup and handles, pennants, all those things are. All these patterns are essentially Elliott wave patterns which form structures like a contracting triangle here. If you haven't joined the Patreon, you can join it next month and you can watch that video for tier 2 and up and see how all these different patterns play out as part of Elliott waves. So what we've seen here is very common, which is a back test of previous support. So we've got these lows here and this rising trend line. We've come back into what was previously support, it's operated as resistance, and we've got this touch on the 50. Now it is possible, having completed at the 61.8, that this was an A, this was a B, and this was a C complete with the Y in, and the 2, and the touch on the golden ratio at the 61.8. If this is the case, then this resistance here will not hold, and we will go up and through the previous triangle, taking out the E wave high. Now if that happens, this will take the form of an impulse, we'll come back in 3 waves and then continue the beginning of a much greater, this will be minor 1, or minute wave 1, minute wave 2, we don't know which wave is going to extend, if it's a 1, if it's the 3, if it's the 5, but either way, we would break this pattern, head to new highs, and that would be the beginning of a intermediate wave 3, which would be a huge thrust to higher pricing. Okay, so it is possible that we've had this pretty big move, contracting move and tiny move, but the symmetry looks very, very dodgy. Very, very dodgy. So my feeling is a deeper correction is in order either way, and maybe we're looking at an A, B, C into an A so far, with a B to come. And once again, this could be another triangle. You don't know. Into a B and then another move down in a C. Okay, so I'm not sure we've got a 5-wave structure complete for a zigzag here yet. So for the A wave of a zigzag 5, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, perhaps 5 A, 3 into a B, 5 into a C, and a much deeper correction. But we did find support at the golden ratio, so maybe we're done. Now let's come out to the daytime frame. Things are a little messier here. And see what we can see. So currently, let's just turn off the count. Okay, my eyes have just, there we go, completely gone for a moment. So we came back to the 50 and we just hung around it for ages, then broke down to the 61.8. We're still above the 2, I did not mean to do that. We're still above the 250 for the meantime, but we are below the 10, below the 20, below the 60, with the 10 and the 20 having crossed through the 60 and all three moving averages now trending down on the daily time frame. Interesting. So we'll see what happens if we break lower. If we take out the 250, which has operated as support before, then these lows are potentially in jeopardy. In which point, calling this a 1 and a 2 at any level starts to become suspect. The problem is very difficult to get anything other than a triangle here. Right, that's a triangle. So what are we saying? We can't say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's just nonsense. So I don't think this is part of an impulse. So my guts are still telling me that this is corrective. Okay, so whether it's completed here, in a bit of a, it's not a truncation, it's above this, it's beyond this previous low, but it's just a very small, Y wave in this case, which seems a bit odd. But corrective triangle broken, back test underway, thrust to new highs above this structure would be very bullish. Take out of this low, and I think you're going to continue to thrust lower, trying to find support maybe around the 250. Okay, now if we look at it in log, we can see that we've only made it to the 50 so far in log, so perhaps a thrust down to the 60 in log scale, to the 61.8, could be a possibility. We've had not very convincing volume. We had all this huge volume run up into the 3, especially in the 3 of the 3. Had some volume return into this high, it started to drop off long before we made it to the highs. Big selling candle here, continued to decline. Slight pickup here, but no bullish candle yet. So if we get a bullish engulfing here, breaking the structure, that would be very positive, but I'm not particularly leaning in that direction at the moment. Let's bring up our volume profile, as I seem to have forgotten it here as well. Very little here in the way of support. Some around the 50. Okay, this is in log scale. Some around the 61.8 and the 65 in linear scale here, but this is a problem. When you consolidate for a long time like this, you're trying to come back to find some kind of previous resistance to support, and if it breaks, it can break quite violently. Now, we don't seem to have gotten underway here with a downward thrust yet though, so we'll know soon enough. If this starts to impulse down, we can look for support at a lower level. Okay, so that's Cardano of a daily time frame. Now let's have a look at Shib. This thing's out of control. I bought, I should say, God, I'll get slapped down for saying bought. I put a little green box back here where I brought this pivot. Okay, I can't remember exactly what kind of territory it was in. 0.000000841. Thinking, oh, this will be fun, and it's turned out to be quite a lot of fun actually, as we've just gone up, up, up and away. It's gone completely crazy, and I wish I'd brought more. Of course I do, who doesn't? But maybe we're going to get the opportunity to get back in or add to our position. Okay, now we're on the hourly time frame here because it's just difficult to make sense of the chart on a larger time frame, but the way I see things is that this was a triangle all day. Okay, this had to be a triangle. A, B, C, D, E, 1, 2. There you go. So we got a triangle here, which means this was a wave 4. Okay, and a wave 1 and a wave 2, a wave 3 and a wave 4, and this is the FOMO wave, the wave 5. Okay, often the wave 5 is not bigger than the wave 3. The wave 3 is often the biggest, but in these markets, I've noticed this, I've pointed it out in previous videos, that the 5th wave can often be a FOMO wave, where everybody and their dog, in this case, is in the market. So 3, 4, 5 ending diagonal into the 5th. We do eke out a higher high before you shout B wave at me. So we get an intermediate 5 complete. I'm guessing this is all guesswork because it's just an insane asset that's gone a million miles in no time at all, and I can't possibly fathom the wave degree we're at. This could be the top and we're never coming back. Okay, and this is game over, bye bye Shib, flash in the pan. Or this could be a 1. Okay, I'm hoping for my sake. I mean, if I lose the money I put in this, I couldn't give a shit, to be honest. It was such a small amount. For for the lols. And I've already taken some profit from a trade I put on in this as well. So at the end of the day, the way I see this is, if this is a 1, then a huge correction down is on the cards. Okay, A, B, C. And then we get a 2, and then a 3 of just, absolutely unimaginable proportions. I mean, this was unimaginable, basically. So the 3 would just be absolutely obscene. So let's try and pick out some idea for... It just doesn't help even in log scale, does it? Try and pick out some idea for a potential retracement here. Let's bring up the fib. Now this white line represents the low, the lowest low I've got. Okay. So let's have a look here what we've got. 50. Price on it instead, it's just easier. 0.0004709 at the 50. If we're coming down, this thing could still continue to push on, and my estimation here that this is a 1 could be wrong. Okay, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves dividing up here in an impulse after a triangle. So this is the penultimate wave, this is the ultimate wave, final wave. So yeah, it could be just another 1, 2 again before we thrust up, but I'm suspecting that was it. Could be wrong, but now we've got to correct all of this. So we're not going to do it here, are we, in an hour or two? Of course not. So this is going to be some kind of more drawn out move. And you got a lot of drama in this market with the FOMO that's come into the Shib market. A lot of drama that needs to play out. A lot of dreams and hopes that have got to get crushed. A lot of noobs that have got to get spanked. And, just get the hell kicked out of them for a few weeks. For this thing to sell off so I can buy it cheaper, please. And have a run up in the free would be amazing. And correct the error of not buying enough of this stuff. But in the meantime, maybe we've got further to go. I'm not going to say this is the top. That's crazy, because there's just no way of knowing that with the way this asset's behaving. But it looks like we've done 5 waves up, so maybe it's a 1 and we've got a big correction to come. How big? Well, if we came back to the 50, let's have a quick look at what we'd be talking about. That's the high here. Yeah, I mean, 46% to the 50. That's because of a skew here, obviously, from trying to pick out the exact pivot, because it's such a tiny asset and such a huge move in percentage terms. So essentially, there is no, 50% is 50%. 61.8 is 61.8 in this case, because it's not a wave 3, it's a wave 1. So don't know why I was measuring that. Of course, that's coming back. Going up is a completely different fish kettle. What are we talking about here? A lot. 1683%. Pretty crazy. In no time at all. When was we at the start? At the start of October, and it's not even November yet. It's just crazy. So the craziness could continue. I'm not going to say it couldn't. The Shib army is just like any other retail army in trading. Once it gets the bit between its teeth, it can just run further than anyone would have thought. But there is one thing which, without fail, always plays out in the end. We always see it, and it is a guarantee. Whether this pushes higher now or whether it reverses now, eventually these blow-off moves, if they are a wave 1, and when we're coming from practically 0, it is. You will see anywhere between 50 to 90% sell-off, and 90 would be lush, wouldn't it? Bring us back down here, and then get up in that wave 3 over the next year or so. That'd be brilliant. So that's the way I see Shib at the moment. Let's have a look at the volume. I have been impressed, to be absolutely honest, after this 3 completed and we identified it as a triangle. I was expecting a bigger divergence across all technicals here, but we actually got a really good showing in the volume here between these two highs as well, with a higher high. We can also see that if we look at the MACD here, we managed to push this recent high to a greater level than we did the previous. Okay, I did not think we were going to be able to come back up here, and we have. So we've shown really strong momentum here. Now, between the 3 and the 5, we've pretty much got no divergence to speak of. You know, we pick out the 5 here, we can see that we have come up to it here in the early move, and we've come up to it almost here. So we didn't get that strong 3 to 5 divergence, but to be absolutely honest, there isn't enough time to form it really, with so much retail pouring into the market. Volume's still really strong. Let's come down to the day time frame for a minute and just see if this sell volume candle, how it looks relatively. See, look at this doji we've got forming at the moment. Let's just switch off. Oh god, what am I added to what? Let's grab all this. I don't think I've got anything separate going on. Put that in there. Okay, get this out of the way. Which one is that? Put that in there. Do not pay attention to where these numbers are. They have not been placed based on any measurement. They're literally just up and out of the way. So for the moment, you know, we've got a really unimpressive histogram of the bearish volume here at the moment, and we've got a completely indecisive doji candle as a result. Close sitting around where the open is at the moment, if it were to close here, that is. Trading currently sitting around the open. Big wick to the upside, big wick to the downside. Could just be a bounce, right? Could just be the bounce before heading lower, in which case we should see more sell volume come in. But, you know, bugger me, look at this, it's crazy. So we'll have to wait and see. Same with the RSI, so overbought, it's just cray. Same with the MACD. So if this is the top and this is a 1, this could just be indecision, because obviously there's so much FOMO going on that we can't get a flush down and sustain it straight away. So we're going to have to break it down gradually and get down here, and that could take some time, and some capitulation will be necessary along the way. But it's a long way back to oversold if we were going to do a round trip, and it is a long way back to the zero bound if we were going to come back here in the MACD. So, depending on the wave degree, I may have called it early. If I have, we'll have a temporary correction and just continue to drive higher. If I've called it by saying 1, then we will obliterate this market. 50 to 90% sell-off on the way in, which is a blessing, because if this is a 1 and this is going to be a 2 eventually, the 3 gives us a chance to accumulate back near the lows, and just an amazing opportunity. And some people say, I can't believe you're being bullish on Shib, Tom, it's a joke, it's this, that and the other. Fair enough, if that's how you feel. I don't listen, and I'm going to be absolutely honest, until the fundamental arguments for cryptocurrency prove themselves to be relevant in the price action. I'm not going to listen to them, because they are not relevant. It's obvious that they're not relevant. It doesn't matter whether it's Dogecoin or Shib, whatever. It's not relevant. The day will come when it is, and when we're all using it, and I can go into any shop at any time, anywhere, and use it as money. When that's the truth everywhere. Those cases and project cases and their use cases and all of the, you know, DApps and all of the other smart contract uses and all of the other blockchain applications of the technology, so on and so forth, once they all become general public knowledge, understood and applicable and usable, then we can talk about the impact the value of the projects have. At the moment, this is a speculative market with pure FOMO and retail investment and speculation driving it. If it was the case that the fundamentals mattered, they would be represented on the chart, and they are not yet. So therefore, why wouldn't a massive retracement in Shib be a massive opportunity? Of course it could be. Let's not be prejudiced or snobby about this. Let's just try and treat it from a technical perspective, in my opinion. Alright then guys, we'll wrap it up there. Hang on, no we won't. Not just yet. Let's have a look how far away these moving averages are. Let's just get rid of this for the moment. Lock it and hide it. Turn the volume off as well. Right, so as you can see on the daily time frame, we don't have a 250 on the daily time frame, obviously, because it hasn't been 250 days of trading to record. So we don't have a 250 green line. We've got the 10, 20, the 60. Even a move back to the 20 would be a huge drop in price. Move back to the 60 would bring us back into this previous structure here around, around this volume in the volume profile here, and around this previous solid structure of a triangle. So a big move down could be possible, because let's be honest, there's absolutely nothing here to provide the slightest bit of support. If we have topped in a major one, there's just nothing here until we get back down here. So hopefully for future bulls, myself included, we will get this big correction and we will get the opportunity to buy it again. If not, I have to accept that what I'm holding is all I've managed to accumulate. So that's that. It's just life. Alright guys, take care of yourselves. If you're new to the channel and you like what you've seen, please subscribe, smash the like, hit the little bell notification icon to remain informed of future video releases. If you are interested in joining the Green Star Trading Patreon, there's a link in the description below. There's also a link to my Twitter feed. If you are going to join the Patreon, please consider waiting until November, 1st of the month, or preferably the 2nd of the month, to avoid any time zone issues which can sometimes occur with Patreon on sign up. But my point is, if you were to sign up now, the last couple of days of October, you will get charged the day you sign up, and then once you're a Patreon, you get charged the first day of each month thereafter. So you would be charged the day you sign up, and then you'd be charged 48 hours later, and you would probably not feel very happy about it. And I want to avoid that happening, because A, it causes me hassle, it causes upset and misunderstanding, and that's why I list it in my YouTube video description. I list it on the Patreon page. I put it as many places as I can, and I tell you about it in my videos, because I don't want that bad feeling to come about. So if you want maximum value, sign up at the start of the month, not at the end of it. Alright guys, take care, and I will be back with you probably next week now. All the best, bye bye.